Hi Homeworthy, I'm Lee. Welcome to my home in Melbourne. Come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name's Lee Farrell. This is my dog Luna, and this is our home in Melbourne. So we actually were looking for a home for quite some time. I've always lived in this area in Melbourne called Abbotsford, so I've always really wanted to have a home here and have a house here. We've always lived in apartments before, so this for us was a big new project. Initially, we were just looking for a home that we could move into, or one with a small renovation. And when we first found this home, it was completely run down. It was almost unlivable. It had an amazing feel about it, but to be honest, we were really not sure. And we actually turned the house down at the beginning and walked away thinking it's just too big a project for us. So when we came back a second time, we loved the feel, but we still thought we've never done any building work before, and it would be a full gut extension. And we just honestly thought it's not something that we would be capable of doing. And then COVID hit, and I'm not sure if it was the pandemic and us living in a tiny dark apartment, but we thought, let's come and see the house one more time. So for the third time, we came in and we just thought, let's go for it, let's do it. We loved the energy of the house. It's early 1900s, so we really loved all the beautiful ornate architrave and the rose detailing on the ceilings. We loved the double frontedness of the property because it's quite hard to find them in this area. And we decided we really wanted to bring the old house back to life. Also wanted to put a modern take on it too. So we decided to go down the route and do a build. From here is actually the original house, and we've even got a little door that if we want, we can close it off because you've entered into our space that we call the snug. And this space was the original living room in the house, but it was really quite different. That wall was not French doors, and we put them in, and it actually had a window that led into a kitchen because we had actually flipped the entire house in the renovation. So the inspiration for the peach color drenching of the room was actually based on the original fireplace that was in the house. This one is not the original. The original was more like a plaster molded one, and it was peach in color, which we did try and salvage, but unfortunately it didn't make it to the end of the build. But what we did do was we reinserted a fireplace of the time of the house, of the era, but I still really wanted to do the peach, and I love that we drenched the entire room in it. This is actually called Manila by Dulux, and what I love about the peach is it gives such this beautiful, warm, cozy space. And the idea behind the snug room is for full entertainment. We have loads of records. We love to just play records, have friends round, drink cocktails. It's a real entertaining space, and I think the color really helps with that. I think this is Luna's actually favorite room because I often find her in here just snuggled up to the cushions on the sofa. I also find her just rolling around in the rug. I'm not sure if it's the color, but it definitely is her favorite room. So the pieces in the room are actually a little bit of an eclectic mix, and I really wanted that. The mirror I actually found on Marketplace. It's a vintage mirror. I loved all the tessellations in the panes, just something a bit different for the space. And then in terms of the space itself, I really wanted to keep it very neutral, but again, have sort of pops of warmth. So we've got this beautiful armchair that I love. It's actually another custom piece. So the design is by T.H. Brown, it's a 70s Australian designer. And there's an amazing secondhand shop here called Grandfather's Axe who are rebuilding these back. So the designer's remaking the exact 70s model, only you can customize the framework. So it doesn't have to be chrome. You can powder coat them. You can choose your own fabrics. I really wanted a rusty color to go with the peach in the room. but they're called the Trend Modular. Some people buy them in lots of pieces so that they can be an actual sofa, which potentially later we may do, but it was just a lovely addition to get, and I wanted a really cozy armchair for the room, and I love the size of this one. So I definitely realized on this journey that I have a love of lighting. I love the pleatedness of this piece, and it was perfect to just fall over this armchair as a reading light. It's by Lumiere, and again, it's similar to the pleated lamp in our dining room. I just love the formation of this piece. I love the curved stand that it comes on as well. When choosing lighting for this room, I really had to look for something that would hold the space, particularly because the ceilings are so high. They're 3.3 meters. So I really wanted to find something, a statement piece. And I love merino glass, which is actually what this chandelier is. I found this beautiful vintage store based in Italy. I actually found it via Etsy, and I wish I'd found it earlier on the journey, because he has some amazing Murano wall lights and other pieces that really would have fit really well into the house. But yeah, I had this shipped over from Italy. The maker was so amazing. Every single piece comes off. It's all individually pieces of glass, and he wrapped them all so beautifully. I was a little bit worried that it wouldn't make it here, but everything came, and it looks fantastic on or off. For this space, we really want it to be like a very communally space, hence why we did, and with the curvatures, to have that very round, warm, connective conversation space. So the rug I actually found, it's a wool rug, it's actually from Lithuania, and I had it ordered in. I actually couldn't find anything here that worked, so I got it ordered, and it was perfect for the space. The travertine table, I really wanted to keep that natural texture that we had sort of flowing through the whole house. So I got this from a Queensland maker, and it's been great to host all of our art books, our photography books, and all our little like knickknacks and candles. We love burning incense and candles in this space, especially when we have people over. So one of my favorite pieces in the house is actually this writing bureau. My parents actually bought this when they were living in the UK, I believe back in the 80s, and they bought it off a secondhand dealer there. So I'm not even sure what era it is, but it has these amazing carved palm trees into it. And I'd always admired this piece, and they had held on to it because I'd said one day I'll have a space that I can actually use it in, and finally the day has come. Because I've always lived in apartments, it just never really fit. But even on the handles, it has this amazing, like the tree of the palm tree is within the handle, and it's just such a gorgeous piece to have, and I actually love the color, it fits perfectly with the peach too. This is our outdoor alfresco space. It's quite a special space. This actually used to be the original kitchen. The original house had lots of tacked on rooms, and the rooms had been tacked on from the 70s, I would say the 80s, the 90s. And at one point, this was the kitchen, and it actually had an old chimney that was covered up. The builder actually said he wasn't sure if the chimney, when we took off the plaster, if it would be standing, but we were lucky enough it did, and we were able to open it up, and hence we've got the outdoor fireplace. So we love this space, it's so versatile. In the summer, we actually bring out a trestle table and we'll set up a full dining experience. In the winter, we often have people round and we'll do barbecue marshmallows on the fire. So it's such a lovely space. We really wanted this space to feel quite warm and natural. So we had an amazing garden designer, Kate Patterson, help us put together all the planting for the space. So we love the ficus that goes up the wall. In the summer, this is filled with grapevines, and eventually with some patience, we're gonna have grapevines all over the arbors, which would be really beautiful. We bought some cactus in as well to tie in with the front garden. Our front garden is very minimal, and it's sort of based on a garden that I love in LA. and we wanted to bring in some of that cactus into the back garden as well. So we've got pots of them here and then further in the garden. This space is actually really special to us. This was actually the old kitchen, and we flipped the house so that we could capture the north light. And the kitchen was a series of tacked on rooms, and they had actually covered up one of the chimneys which had a fireplace in it. So this is one of the original fireplaces. We weren't too sure if it was going to stand the test of time with the plaster coming off, but we were really fortunate. It worked. It was completely fine. We actually opened it up just to have a bigger aspect and then rendered it. But yeah, we use this often. We use it often for dinner parties. We use it often for wines by the fire. It's such a beautiful space to have. And then also what was so great is when they took the plaster off, there was also another cubby which we've used for the wood. So we utilised these beautiful vintage pots to do herb gardens. It's great. In the winter, we've got obviously bay leaves, oregano, rosemary, sage. In the summer, in the smaller pots, we often plant parsley and basil. We have another seating area, and then which leads into Luna's area of the house, which is her mini garden. We love this space. In the last New Year's, we had a big dining table set up. We had lots of people here for an outdoor dinner party because our New Year's is summer. We have more cactus as well. Again, this was to try and bring the front of the house into the back of the house. There was a bit of an accident transporting this cactus. The top piece actually got decapitated, but we love it so much actually. We've now called it the chandelier. Yeah, and it's a perfect focal point for the end of the garden. For screening for the end of the house, we've actually used palm trees, which we love. It helps tie in the front garden to the back garden, but they're also just such beautiful, beautiful trees, and we love them. And we can't wait for them to grow really, really large and have that as the end focal point of the garden. So for the renovation process for the house, we were really fortunate. So the owner of the house, she'd actually owned the house since the 70s. And she had lived in the house, and her children had lived through the house, and I believe her children's children had lived in the house. So she was really happy that people really wanted to bring the house back to life. And she gave us quite a long settlement period, which allowed us to come in and have a designer come through, and we had surveyors come through one by one, and for us to walk through and really see how we wanted to revive the home, but then also add the extension on the back as well. We found Aidan Doherty, and his company's designed by AD, and he was really fantastic in working with us and embracing the things that we wanted to include, but also including a touch of his style as well. The main things that we really wanted in the space, for us, light was really, really important, especially living in a pandemic at the time. We were in a very beautiful but very dark apartment. So that was one of the main focuses for us, and how to navigate an east-facing house. In Australia, east-facing is the morning light. So we really wanted to try and flip the tacked-on extension that was there and take it off and really flip it so we could encourage some of the north light into the place as well. We also then faced a challenge of trying to find a builder in the pandemic when so many other people had also decided it was a great idea to renovate their own homes too. It was a very hands-on experience, probably bigger than we had ever imagined, but looking back, we wouldn't have done it any other way. So this is our living room space. It is in the extension of the house, so it's actually the back end of the house. The palette of the house in general is, it's quite serene. I wanted it very textural, very warm, and in a way quite neutral. What I wanted to bring in with the design is more pops of color. So this piece is by Takeda, and I just love the really rich yellow against all the neutral palette. And it was one of the pops of color that I really wanted. Yellow, as you'll see through the house, pops up a little bit because it's one of my favorite colors. The sofa that we chose, I really wanted something really big and expansive. I'm really fortunate to have a really close friend who is an interior architect / designer who I would trade dinners for a little bit of help with placement of furniture and size of furniture. And he was really great. His name is Tyler Aspen Edmonds. And he would often come with me. I would obviously choose the pieces, but he would suggest like I'd probably get an extra section in the modular just so to fill the space. So it was really great to have that help, especially it was the first place that we've had to fit out of this size and with so many rooms to do. This piece I absolutely love. I had been looking for a sofa for a long time, and I saw lots of ones, but they weren't quite right, or they weren't quite the right size. Initially, I thought I would never do any custom bits for the house. Turns out a lot of it is custom. But this piece is actually, there's an amazing Instagram secondhand seller called Mood Objects, and she has beautiful vintage pieces. I actually wish I'd found her earlier on in the journey. But I saw her advertising these beautiful sofas, vintage sofas. A lot of them were in sort of bright velours, so not really what I wanted. But I ended up going to her showroom here in Melbourne. And the fantastic thing is she can remake styles, vintage styles. So this is actually a recreation of an old vintage style. We had it slightly raised because the original was a little bit lower. And then I got to choose the fabric. So this fabric's actually a James Dunlop fabric. What I loved about it was it's a boucle, but it has about, within the colors, like it has about 3 different flecks of color. Again, it's just got that really beautiful textural element that I wanted in the space. I wanted it to be really comfy and luxurious. And then I also bought some offcuts of the fabric. I really wanted to tie in some of the cushions into the sofa. I also have a little bit of an obsession with bullion tassels, which are these. These are actually really hard to find in Australia. So I ended up ordering them from finding a beautiful maker in Greece through Etsy, and had them ordered in. And then I got the cushions made to go with the sofa. Similarly, these are actually offcuts of our dining chairs, which I'll show you. And yeah, we put these on as well, just so it could sort of tie the house together. And again, bring in a little bit more texture with the tassels. And then I wanted a bit of color too. I brought in a little bit of Bonnie and Neil to have sort of pops of color, like I mentioned with the artwork. It's really lovely just to have some of my favorite colors throughout the house. I also love this lamp. I have been eyeing this lamp off for a very long time. It's actually by Gooby. I have previously worked on other photo shoots for a brand that I used to work with, and I had seen it twice in different houses and absolutely loved it. So when it was time to buy lighting, this was one of my first choices. So this is our little coffee table area. I do love the hardness of the chrome actually with the textures in the room, and I do actually love chrome, and I really want to bring in a piece. This piece was from an amazing Instagram vintage seller as well called Mookie Vintage. I found it and just loved it, and I love the glass. I love that you can still see all the textures through it. I'm also a big fan of books rather than looking online, and Will loves photography. So our books are sort of about interior design. We've got a lot of photography books, little knickknacks on the table. I found this beautiful shell box from Mars Supply, which are, again, a beautiful vintage shop in Melbourne. And it stores all our incense, which we love because we love to have beautiful smells around the house as well. The side tables that we have featured, we love them because they're really, really organic. And we sort of wanted to bring in a bit of softness into the space as well, with the extension being quite like a block, and it's quite rigid. I just really wanted some softer edges and softer materials for the space, also to go back with the textural pieces and the earthiness within the colors that we've chosen. So our living room leads into our dining room, which is this area here. This area to us is one of our favorite parts of the home because we do love to entertain. This table for me, I have been eyeing this off for such a long time. It's by Australian designer Sarah Allison. It's a walnut piece, and what I love so much is these the solid legs underneath. And then with the table, I wanted some chairs that were, I guess, something a little bit different. So I actually found these chairs on Marketplace. They're actually a 70s designer, and when I got them, the seats were actually quite a similar color, and they even had a brown trim on them, but they were just so worn and the foam needed changing. So I had them completely refoamed, and then I got a brand new fabric and piping for the outside. But I just loved that combination. They were a little bit grayer, but I sort of kept with that, just lightened it up to a bit of a cream. And I just love the shape of these chairs and the beautiful framework in the wood. And then this lamp is also another really spectacular piece. It's actually based off a ballerina skirt, and it's a piece by Harto that I absolutely love. It almost feels like paper. But yeah, it's such a spectacular piece, and I love it with the symmetry of the round and the rounds. We recently were lucky enough to have a trip to Mexico City as well, and I found these gorgeous little candles there that I absolutely love. They're so pretty and a perfect addition to the table too. We love little interesting pieces of art, and this one I actually found from an Australian maker. It's all hand carved, and we have a few of them around the house. To me, they look like little faces, but yeah, I love them. And it was actually just a little artist that I found on Etsy, but they do beautiful sculptural pieces. One of our favorite things when we're traveling is actually to go and visit cocktail bars around the world. Will has actually learn to perfect making cocktails, especially when we're in the pandemic, and we were designing the house, and he thought maybe we'll never get to go to a cocktail bar again. We decided to actually put one in. So we have a little hidden bar. So it's great. We've got these pocket doors that slide back. So then the bar's open, and then we also used, within the bar, we used some of our leftover travertine that we have in our ground floor bathroom as a beautiful shelf, which ties beautifully in with the smoked glass and the darker wood. But he has everything here to make his cocktails. He's always experimenting with different recipes and different ingredients, because we've learnt there's so many. And we love vintage glassware. So we've been so fortunate to be able to pick up some really different pieces on our travels. We've got some really beautiful coloured ones as well. Ooh. So it's just really different pieces. We love these little martini glasses with the olives in them. And yeah, we've actually, some of the other pieces, we've got this vintage like apple ice bucket too. It's just lovely to have people over and have cocktail parties. Leading from the dining room leads into our kitchen. This is, I guess, the heart of our home in a way. We designed this particularly with bench seating on the island so people can come and enjoy a drink while we're cooking. We also designed it so it would open up to the living and dining areas so that it's just a beautiful space to share with people and it's not closed off. Kitchen's really an interesting space. We learnt a lot while doing this build. When we were told we could obviously go and choose our own marbles and stone, it was really, really exciting. We chose our marble early in production, but made an awful mistake that we didn't order enough. So when it came to time for the stonemason to cut the stone, we were 2 slabs short. The problem with marble, and especially we found in Australia, is it sells out really quickly. And so when we went back to add additional marble to the first lot we'd chosen, we couldn't get anything in a similar color palette. So the other stretch was we were about to leave on a holiday and we had about a week to find another stone. It was quite stressful, but actually it worked out for the better. I think for the first stone we'd chosen, it was a super classic Carrera, which I do love. I just think I'd gone really, really safe because I hadn't chosen stone before, and I wanted something in the kitchen that had longevity. When we went back to see what Carrera slabs there were left, there wasn't enough, and there weren't any that we really loved the pattern. So we had to do a 180 and actually change stones, and I'm actually so happy we did, because this is actually a Turkish stone that we chose, and it has like these beautiful whimsical veins through it, which I feel like is more along what I was wanting to do design-wise, for that sort of texture, a little bit bohemian in style in a way, but still quite classic. And it was just so great to have, I guess, a second chance at re-choosing stone. It was definitely a happy accident, a very stressful one, but when we moved in, we really felt like we lucked out with being able to re-choose the stone. So for the kitchen, we really wanted a lot of storage, which we were so lucky to get. And again, everything is hidden within the kitchen. So the fridge is hidden behind here. It's a double door fridge. We also have another pocket door situation, which is here. I love to cook, and I actually, for the first time, wanted a space for my dehydrator, which I do a lot of different kind of, I guess it's not baking, but dehydrating and we even have a space for the microwave as well. And then we've used, obviously, a beautiful paneling from our designer. I had always said I loved paneling on doors, and he had this idea to sort of do this slimmer line paneling that's a little bit more modern, and I love it. I actually love the doors that were selected. Or the handles that we got. We actually wanted something quite heavy duty. I actually found these from a UK supplier called Yester Home, and I love them. They're like little mini olive pips. And yeah, they've been a great addition to this space, and I just think it makes it look a little bit more interesting. We love to do cooking, so we have lots of cookbooks in the kitchen, and we have more as well as you're coming in. But yeah, we also love to collect pieces on our travels. So this little artwork, actually, I got from a little artist on the street in New York, and he does sort of little pictures of classic New York buildings. So I had to have one of those. This is actually an incense holder. It's a marble incense holder by Maison Balzac. I love their pieces. We've got quite a bit of their glassware and vases as well. And again, I wanted to bring in a little bit more stainless. We have some chrome pieces in the house, so it's just nice to tie everything together. This is really, really sweet. I've had this for years. It's actually a little Alessi kitchen roll holder. The little rabbit turns around and holds the roll in place. And then, yeah, in terms of our kitchen setup, we like to keep it quite simple, because we've got everything, spices, oils, everything in the drawer. But on top, we've just sort of got like cute little things to rest spoons in. I had a recent trip to Ibiza, so we've got some beautiful black salts there. Yeah. And then on this shelf, these are pieces we've collected from travels. This little guy's actually for your spatulas, and I got it in London, but I actually love him on the shelf. This is actually a vintage piece from Will's mum, I believe from the 70s, but it comes with a whole set of coffee cups. And these little guys, every time we go to Bali, these are actually Balinese, and we pick one up every time we go. So as you can see, we've been 4 times. And then this piece was a gift, and it's by a lovely local artist. We just need to find somewhere to hang it. So it's like for a wall. And then, yeah, the lobster artwork's actually a piece that we picked up on travels down in the UK, down near Cornwall. It was a little seafood village, a fishing village. And I found this piece, and I just thought it was really cute. So So this is actually a very clever space. It's one of my favorites. It's actually our butler's room. It's actually underneath our stairwell that goes upstairs. So this was a really clever use of space that our designer put the laundry in. But we love this space for food prep, for entertaining. Will's got his little coffee station. Again, we've got lots of things hidden in storage, which is great. And we've actually got the dishwasher in here. We don't have the dishwasher in the kitchen. We love it because when we have a party, we can actually close it off. All the dishes stay in here and you don't actually get to see the mess, which is really great. And also what I love is we put skylights in the roof. So originally the design plan, it was no skylights. It would have been really dark and fueled by light. I just love that we have the light all the way through. What it means is the space carries light throughout the whole day. So you'll get the south light, the north light, and then the west light in the evening too. Lighting was actually one of my favorite things to choose for the house. These lights, there's 2 of them. These are also by Gooby, and I have been eyeing these off for a long time. It was so lovely to be able to put them in the space, and they can come out, but we generally leave them up against the wall. So our kitchen leads into the old part of the house. On the way, we have this bookshelf tower. Again, it's just more of our favorite cookbooks and design books that we love for inspiration, for cooking, and for creating a beautiful space. So for the design of the home, there were some key things that we really, really wanted. There were things to do with space expansion and light. That was one of our main drivers. But then in terms of smaller details in the rooms and spaces, what we really wanted to create within an inner city home was an oasis where we could entertain friends and family. The idea, of the home, I think, for us, because we have lived in small apartments and never really had that, was to have a space just to have friends, family here to enjoy, and also a space for us to retreat to. In terms of style, I would say our styles are quite a transitional style for interiors. We really wanted to keep a lot of the original home, so that old classic feel, but then we also wanted to mix it with a more modern contemporary extension. I love vintage furniture, and I love hunting for really special pieces that no one else will have. But I also love modern furniture too, and I feel the home has been a really great combination of the two, where I've sourced lots of beautiful pieces online, hunting at markets, and then other pieces that we've got from some beautiful local Melbourne designers or Australian designers. So it's been a great combination of design, which is what I love. When our friends and family come to visit, we want them to just feel welcome. We want them to enjoy the space. We love setting up dinner parties for people. In the summer, we often do it outside in our alfresco area. In the evenings, we put the fireplace on. We just love people to come and enjoy this space that we have created. And then in the winters, we just love having people round. We purposely got a round dining table just so we could enjoy very communal meals together. But yeah, we also love friends coming to stay. We've got lots of friends from overseas, so we love to put the heating on for them and sort of pop slippers on the bed and have them come and enjoy all the textures and the space that we have created. So leading on from our snug, it goes into our ground floor bathroom. The idea for this space was to have it sort of like a beautiful spa-like feeling. We've actually, when you come in, it's actually got underfloor. You won't be able to feel it because you're on film, but it's got underfloor heating, which we love, and it's an absolute treat in the winter when you're coming in for a bath. Will and I both grew up in the UK, so baths are a must. And again, in Australia, there's not many of them, particularly in apartment living. So that was a big must for both of us. So the vanity for us is another really special area in the house. I have a love for stone and marble, and I really wanted something in here that would just, again, bring out that spa-like feeling in a house. We had done the room in quite a lot of neutral beiges, so I needed a stone that had a little bit more depth, and this silver travertine was an amazing find. I actually went to a stone yard and asked them if they had any. They didn't have any on the shelf per se, but they had some offcuts at the back, and I managed to get a beautiful offcut that we then used for the vanity, and I loved the curve that we put in to obviously match with the mirror curve as well. The chair is actually another vintage piece. It's actually an old spinner chair, so I believe this is used for knitting and sewing. But yeah, I love the little detailing. It almost looks like a little face, and it was just a perfect addition for towels, for candles, for bath time. And this is a guest bedroom. It is actually Luna's bedroom. It's one of her favorite rooms. We wanted to, again, keep these, our guest rooms, really textural and warm. The bedding wise, I've always kept them in beautiful rust tones. The coverlet, I actually got custom made through a maker. It's actually an Indian maker on Etsy. I love all the hand stitching that comes from India. So this piece was a custom size made for the beds. And we've stuck with like beautiful like rusts and terracottas that Luna perfectly matches for all of our bedding. And then this is a piece by Bonnie and Neil. I just love all the colors in here, and it really ties it in with the bedroom, as well as the beautiful Burl side tables. I have a bit of an obsession with Burl at the moment, so it was lovely just to incorporate a little bit of that into the home. So also the room has beautiful high ceilings, and it was actually really, really hard to find curtains for this space. A lot of standardized curtains just wouldn't fall to the floor. So I actually ordered these from Etsy, and I loved this maker. She was actually in the US, and she makes these beautiful light curtains with these beautiful trim detailing. You can choose the color that you like. Again, I sort of stuck with the neutral tones to tie it back in with everything else with the house. And I love the railing, the little curls on the railing at the top. It's just a really beautiful feature to have as well, and to highlight the height of the ceiling. And we went quite simple with lighting in the room. This is a rice paper lamp by Hay. I actually do love these lamps, and it was a great space to put it in. I would have to say my favorite part of the home is the kitchen. I always love to cook. Again, previously we've always lived in really tiny apartments where we've had to cram different things into different cupboards just to make space. Whereas here we really focus on designing a kitchen that will allow for all our appliances, that would have a huge workspace, for baking, for cooking, and if I go away, it's sort of the one thing that I miss when I'm away is actually cooking for myself. So I love that space, and I love the marble that we chose. And again, I love the spaces in the extension part of the house. So we focused on making sure that it has light on every time of the day. For me, I believe a home's soul is actually what's in it. For us, Will and I have loved to travel always, but we always bring bits home, and we always fill the space with little trinkets and things we've collected, and we love just sharing those parts and bringing them back home. Like when we travel home and then incorporating it back into the space, it brings another part of us back into where we live and where we enjoy. And again, it's so lovely to share with people when they come round. So this is the stairwell to our upstairs. We had a little nook here. So we've put a little Slim Aaron's photo here. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's actually a piece that I always look at when I'm feeling stressed and feel like I need a holiday. So this is our master bedroom. This is actually on the second floor. And originally we had the house was going to be a flat roof house, but because of residential requirements, we ended up doing a pitched roof, which I'm so happy about. Again, another happy accident, because I just feel like it's such a beautiful shape to have into the room and leading into the walk-in robe and the ensuite. In terms of this space, I really wanted a huge oversized headboard. Trying to find one, it was almost impossible. So it was another custom piece that we got made. I kept the palette quite neutral, and I covered this in like a Warwick velour, because what it then meant is in terms of bedding and accessories, we could really change that up and change the look and feel of the room. I love the shape of these. I love the sort of curved handles that come on them, and the color was perfect and the size fits so well with the oversized bed head as well. And yeah, in terms of bedding, we just love to mix it up. I'm obsessed with this butter yellow color at the moment. And also I've gone back, for years I used linen, and then I've flipped back to washed cottons. There's a beautiful company in Australia called Sheet Society, and they're doing all these amazing colors. So yeah, we've been exploring more color for our sheets. This piece is actually, I ordered it from New York. It's actually a New York artist, and the piece is called Bruised, and it is actually a plaster piece, and I just loved the simplicity and the texture that it has. I really wanted to keep the bedroom quite simple and not have too much art. I love the idea of sleeping in a space that's really serene and calming, and then there's not too much to catch your attention. For our windows, these were also a little hard to find blinds for because they're so tall. So I got some more customization done, and I had these Roman blinds made specifically for the room. I love the little tan trim. I just thought it added a beautiful addition to the design, and something interesting to actually look at from the bed. And then we also have this beautiful piece from Jones & Co, which is an Australian designer. It's just a little mirror, but I think it's got shell detailing in it, and it's really gorgeous. So this is from the bedroom. Leading through the walk-in robe, you go into the ensuite. This is a tiny room, but it's actually one of my favorite. We actually spent a lot of time on what we wanted to do with this because we knew we would spend a lot of time in this bathroom. This stone is my favorite stone in the whole house. It's actually a stone from Portugal. The stone's called Estremos. What I loved about this stone was the beautiful peach accents, and then within sort of the grey greeny bit there's a beautiful purple highlight. Again, I just thought it went so complementary with all the beautiful neutrals. One of Will's requests was actually from staying in hotels is to have a double vanity. I thought it was a little bit excessive, but we've actually, since putting in, I understand, and I'm really glad that he pushed for it because we love it. Behind the vanity, we've actually tucked behind the shower, and then on the other side is the toilet, which we thought was a really great use of space. The house sits on the cusp of the Victorian and Federation era, which is really early 1900s. So I believe it's 1903, sort of through for about a decade. And our designer was really great, and he researched the house back to when it was built and reinstated at the front all the lace work, so we could really bring the frontage back to life. It did have some other lace, some sort of more wooden Federation work on it, but we believe that was actually added sort of later and not from the early times. So yeah, a lot of the history was researched to bring back all the detailing that we could. This is the front of our home. Again, we tried to match it with the back. So the front tiles are actually the same tiles as used in the alfresco. This house, we really wanted to keep the garden really, really simple. So a lot of these old sort of Victorian-Federation houses have quite classic gardens. I was really inspired by a garden in LA. It's the Isabel Marant's store on Melrose. She has a beautiful white store, and in front of it is just an abundance of cactus. We didn't have such a big space to work with, but what space we have, we wanted to keep it super minimal, super clean, and filled with cactus that was inspired by LA. And I love it with the checkerboard tiles. I just think it's so clean and beautiful. So with the house, it is on the cusp of the Victorian-Federation era. And what was great, our designer Aiden researched back to the type of iron lacework that was part of houses at that time. We reinstated the design, and what's so fantastic in Melbourne is there are still makers recreating pieces from those eras, which follows all around the veranda. The house, we were so fortunate with the house, they actually came with these 2 trees that fit perfectly with the style of garden that we really wanted to have. So it was a lucky addition for our cactus garden. The word home means to me, it's a place, it's not necessarily the house, it's who's in it. So home is Will and myself, and home is Luna with us. And it is us just enjoying being together. That for me is actually home, but it's so lovely that we get to do it in this house and home. Homeworthy, it's been so fun showing you my home. Thank you so much for coming to visit. But it is now time for you to go and for me to go and enjoy my home. Bye.